Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to learn Azure Private DNS Zone with a simple hands-on demo. By the end of this video, you will understand what a private DNS zone is, why we use it in Azure Virtual Network, and how a VM can resolve a private domain name to a private IP address. We will also verify it using nslookup command inside a Linux VM. So first let's understand what is Azure Private DNS. So basically, what a DNS is, a DNS converts a domain name into IP addresses. The private DNS, like it provides internal DNS resolution inside virtual networks, Azure Virtual Networks. So imagine you have a multiple virtual machine inside a Azure Virtual Network. Now, instead of connecting to servers or this virtual machine using IP addresses, you want to use friendly domain names. Something like, say, you have webvm.contosotest.com and we use private DNS, which will resolve to its IP address. Okay. So, but this domain name should work only inside your Azure network, not on the public internet. And this is where exactly we use Azure Private DNS, right? So Azure Private DNS allows you to create internal DNS record for resources inside your Azure Virtual Network. Okay, so that means your virtual machines can resolve names like webvm.contoso.com to an IP address such as 10.0.04. And this resolution works only inside the virtual network. Now let's head to the portal and see a demo. In this demo, we will create a virtual network. We'll create a Linux machine within the virtual network, Azure Private DNS Zone resource, and we'll create a DNS record, DNS A record. And then we log into the VM and see how the DNS name is resolved to this IP address. So now I have logged into the Azure portal, and as always, we will start our demo by creating the virtual network. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a virtual network, and we'll name this virtual network as private, private VNet. Okay, in the security, I want Azure Bastion because I want to connect to my VM using Azure Bastion. I can also use a public IP to connect or using SSH, but I don't want to use it. I will be using Azure Bastion. So, and the default, we'll take the default, whatever it is showing. In the IP addresses, we'll take the default, but just we will edit this, the name of this to say backend subnet. Rest all will take as default. We'll review and create. Okay, so the deployment of the virtual network has started. We'll wait for this deployment to get completed and then we will go ahead with the next resources. So the virtual network deployment has completed successfully. Now we'll go ahead and create a virtual machine inside that network. Say create, and this let's name it as WebVM. We don't want any infrastructure redundancy. And the size, let's select the size. We'll select the general purpose one. For the lab purpose, this is fine. Let let me set a username and password. So for public inbound port, I'll say none. In networking, I've selected the VNet is already selected. The subnet is also selected. We don't want any public IP. This rest all will keep as it is. Let's go to the monitoring and disable boot diagnostics. Let's review and create. This is going to take a minute, and once the virtual machine is created, uh, we will create the DNS zone, and then we'll show the demo. So the virtual machine is now created. Let's go and create the DNS zone. So we will create a private DNS zone. So if you see here, right, the private DNS provides a reliable, secure DNS service to manage and resolve domain names in a private network. Or in a virtual network, without the need to add a custom DNS solution. Okay, so this is what we discussed in our introduction, right, to this topic. So let's go ahead and create it. Let's name it as say desktop. Okay, and rest all will keep as it is, right? We are not going to uh, fill this virtual network links we will create once the resource is created. So let's review and create. This is also going to take a minute, and then it will be created. So it's taking some time. So what I'll do is I'll be back once this resource is deployed successfully. Okay, so it's deployed successfully. Let's go to this resource. Okay, in the settings, so in the DNS management, we can link the virtual networks, right? So we'll go to the virtual network and we'll add. Okay, we'll give them a name as demo link. Okay, and the virtual network is this is what we created, and we'll enable auto registration. Now let's see what this auto registration means. That this setting enables automatic creation of DNS record in this private DNS zone for the virtual machine connected to this virtual network. So what will happen is that the DNS records will be created automatically. So let's create this link and see what happens. So this is also going to take some time, around 2-3 minutes it's going to take. Okay, and then we'll be able to test our network. We can also create additional record. We will see in the record set what record sets are created when we enable auto registration. So let's wait for this and then we'll see the demo. So now the virtual network link is completed. You can see it here, but the link status still shows in progress. So let's refresh it and see what. So, so after the refresh, you can see the link status is showing is completed. You can go to the record sets and you can see that for web VM, the record set is created automatically since we enabled auto registration, right? Now since this is already created, we are not going to create it, or we can create it. Let's say suppose so let's avoid that, let's not create it. Now let's do one thing, connect to our VM. Okay, and we'll connect to this VM using bash. And say connect. So now we have connected to the VM. Go to this portal. Okay, we will see ns look up So VM dot control dot. So once we see, we get a return of this address, which is the private address. We can see that our in our private DNS zone under the record set, you can see this is the IP address. So this is how Azure Private DNS works. Now, these private DNS zones are commonly used for internal applications, microservices communication, private endpoints, internal load balancer, and VM to VM communication using domain names. So that was a quick demo on Azure Private DNS Zone. We created a private DNS zone, linked it to a virtual network, created a DNS record, and tested name resolution from a VM. So if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more Azure demos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.